Alright folks, this is for all the Jeep JK keyboard commandos in these forums. I just topped my tank off, filled it all the way up to it clicked, then went a second time. I always do that. 9 gallons. So if you want to call it 9.061, fine. That's what it really is. Okay? This Jeep's getting about 15.5, 15.6 miles per gallon, which everyone says it can't do. Let me show you something. You can see what it is right here, because every time I post something like this, someone says, oh, well, we don't know what size wheels you have or what year your Jeep is or anything else. You know, it could be stock wheels and blah, 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 blah. That's why you're getting good mileage. You know, these guys in the forum claim they can only get 10 or 11 miles per gallon with 35s. It's not true. And they say with the 3.8 liter, it's freaking impossible. Here we go. 2008 Jeep Wrangler JK Unlimited Rubicon. Factory 410 gears, 3.5 inch lift, 35 1250 17 tires. I've got bumpers on the front and the rear. These are Smitty built XRC bumpers, so you guys know what they weigh. That's the Smitty built XRC Gen 1 bumper. That's a 107 pound bumper, look it up. I got the Smitty built XRC Gen 2 bumper up here. I believe that's like 135 pounds, give or take. Something like that. Don't quote me 100%. All right. I got a 12,000 pound winch on it. Got the tires on it. I got the lift on it. There you go for all you keyboard commandos out there. There you go. 35, 1250, 17. And they're not a passenger tire. They're not an all-terrain tire. You can see what I'm running. The X-Comp MTs. You can see how aggressive the tread is on that thing. Alright, there you go. She has no problem getting 15.5, 15.6 miles per gallon, and that's 50-50 city highway driving with the 3.8 liter, which everyone says is a dog. It can't get but 10 miles a gallon. You guys are nuts. This thing cruises 65, 70 perfectly. Doesn't have any trouble dropping out of gear. Never overheats. I see all these other people with the 3.6 Pentastars and even the 3.8 talking about their engines always overheating, and no overheating issues whatsoever. She runs ice cold. And I live in the high desert. I mean, 100-degree days are fairly common here. Even hotter than that. You know, we get up about 105 up here in northern Nevada. So I don't know what to tell you guys. You know what it comes down to? It comes down to proper maintenance, knowing what you're doing, setting your suspension, the geometry, keeping your engine tuned correctly. That's what it comes down to, guys. It's not some magical voodoo. It's just got to do the right thing. That's all it is. Here you go, knuckleheads. You know what a 3.8 liter looks like. It's got the coil pack. That right there is a 3.8 liter. Same vehicle. Here you go, folks. I want you to look at the odometer. 142.1. That's since I filled it up last. If you guys don't know, you don't have to rely on the trip odometer. Sometimes they're accurate, sometimes not. Since I recalibrated this Jeep with the JScan app, it's accurate. But if it's not, all you do is you fill your tank all the way up, which I know none of you Jeep guys do. You can only afford 5 or 10 gallons at a time. I mean dollars at a time. I read it all day long on the forums. I don't understand, but whatever. So there you go. 142 miles since I filled it up last. That's what I've driven. Now you might say, oh, your tires are oversized, the J-scan doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? I check it on my GPS too. There you go. Trip B, I reset it every time. Look at that. 142.7 miles versus 142.1. We're talking 0.6 of a mile. Half a mile difference over 142 miles. It is accurate. That right there shows you. It gets the mileage. It gets it. Now if we go to the trip odometer here, 15.8 miles per gallon. That's what it's showing. I just did the math. I think it's more like 15.6. Pretty close. These often read a little higher than what you actually get. No, I'm not done there. As you can see, I've reset my trip odometer to 0. I've reset my GPS to 0. And no, there's no check engine light. A check engine light is always on when your vehicle isn't running. If you ever go to buy a vehicle, you turn the key on with the engine off and that doesn't light up, they've done something. You can see it goes off. You can see how nice and smooth she idles. That's the AC kicking on. Oh, by the way, that's the mileage constantly running the AC up here in the Northern Nevada high desert. Got to turn my Gretchen Wilson off there. And another thing to think about. You know an engine makes its maximum horsepower and everything at sea level, right? The higher up you go in elevation, the more horsepower you lose and blah, 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 blah. There's my elevation right there. 4378. Okay? 4378. Now I'm going to get on the highway and I'm going to show you how well this drives. We're just going to go either 60 or 65, whatever the speed limit is. I'm going to throw it on cruise control and I'm going to show you how it easily maintains it the way it's set up. Factory 410s, 35-inch tires, 3.8 liter. Oh, and let's not forget, before somebody says, oh, you don't have an automatic. There you go. She's an automatic. How do I turn the light on inside of here? There you go. She's the 4-speed automatic. Oh, there we go. Now you can see it. 3-speed with overdrive. And like I said, my AC is always on. I run it pretty much constantly. So I'm getting those miles per gallon with the AC on. And another thing I didn't mention, but I will, I run these tires exactly at 28 PSI. Why? Because I want a good contact patch over the tread blocks. So that way I don't prematurely wear out the center of the tire. To get it ideal, I'd probably be more about 24 PSI. But I don't want to run them that low, so it's a little compromise, and I run them at 28. And you know, most passenger tires, truck tires, whatever, usually recommend right about 35 PSI. So I'm not going to get nearly the fuel mileage I would if I had them aired up to 35. And I'm still getting that 15.6, 15.7 miles per gallon. So I want to show the difference between the overdrive on and the overdrive off. You can see I'm driving down the highway. GPS is 60 miles per hour. Speedometer is exactly 60 miles per hour. We are at 2,500 RPM. That is with the overdrive off, as verified by the light on the dash. Probably can't tell, but I'm actually climbing a pretty decent hill here. You might be able to tell with the other vehicle coming down it. Climbing a pretty decent hill. And the overdrive is on, and she holds fine. I'm still climbing this hill. Overdrive is still on. I've lost about 2 miles per hour, that's it. just like any other automatic transmission vehicle would do. She downshifted. She immediately got right back up to speed. Went up to that 2,500 RPM I showed you when the overdrive is off. Overdrive's back on. We're still going up the hill. You can see where the RPMs are running, right about 1850 in overdrive. She's maintaining just fine. Once again, verified by GPS, and look at the elevation. I'll manually turn the overdrive off. You can once again see the RPMs. 2,500. Turn the overdrive back on. 1850. Another thing I also read about on the forums constantly is death wobble, the steering wheel shaking all over the place, the whole vehicle's vibrating and bouncing. Not sure if you can see. It's dark in here, but my steering wheel is 100% dead center. It doesn't shake. It is perfect. Everything holds perfect. Nothing overheats. I mean, this is for you keyboard commandos who says it's not so. Now, if you don't believe the mileage calculator on my dashboard, by all means, do the math. Okay, you take those numbers I told you it took to top my tank off, go back and watch the video, and you divide, or actually you take the miles driven, you divide it by the gallons put in, and that'll give you your mileage. That's how you should do it. I do it in all my vehicles at every fill up. Every one of my vehicles, I usually run them to about half a tank and I fill them up. And through the life of the vehicle, I constantly monitor the fuel mileage. So that way I know if something's off, something's not right. I check the air pressure in all my vehicles about once every 2 weeks. Usually they don't need any air. Usually it's only when it starts getting cold in the winter, the PSI will drop. I always check it when it's cold. You always want to check your cold PSI. Basically what I'm telling you is I maintain my Jeep. I maintain all my vehicles. I do fully synthetic oil changes every 5,000 miles. I change all the fluid in the whole drivetrain, everything, when it's due, when the manufacturer recommends it. I keep the engine tuned properly. I didn't take this Jeep to an alignment shop. I aligned everything myself because I don't trust any shop. I've taken vehicles to shops in the past for an alignment, and they've left a lot worse than they've went in. I centered the axles myself, side to side. I aligned the axles myself, front to back. I made sure everything was to my liking, which was dead on. I'm a very OCD person. I make sure everything's right. I don't have any problems. That's what it comes down to, guys. It's maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. Making sure things are right. And then when something isn't right, don't take to the internet and just, say your vehicle's no good. It's a manufacturing defect, or it's someone else's fault, or, the tires you put on are causing problems, or, some nonsense like this. I'm just showing you. It's possible. Now, if I drive solely on the highway, if I take a trip and I'm going 70 miles an hour, my fuel mileage will increase. I'll get about 17.5. But like I said, this is about 50% city and highway driving that I'm currently doing. Don't know what else to say, folks. And by the way, climbing that hill back there and everything, yes, the AC was on. So you've got the draw of that AC compressor. And it's a mechanical draw. The crankshaft turns the belt's turning the AC compressor, clutch is engaged, it's drawing juice. Sorry that I sound like such a dick, but I'll make a video showing one aspect of this, and these keyboard commandos, man, no, it ain't so, you're a liar, you don't know what you're talking about. Guys, I showed you 4,300 feet elevation, GPS versus the actual speedometer. I've shown you actual miles driven. I've shown you actual gallons put back in the tank to fill it up. Showed you the actual Jeep, the tire size, the engine, the transmission. And I've been driving this whole time showing you nothing's changing. And I'm actually starting to go up a hill right here. The 3.8 liter with this automatic transmission, 35s and 410 gears, is not a dog at all. If I put the pedal down, she goes. Even off a line, she's plenty zippy. No trouble at all. All right, folks. Catch you later. If you don't believe this, there's no hope for you. That's all I could tell you.